Sì, no. Yes, no. Eh. Ciao a tutti. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. The purpose of today's video is to teach you Italian filler words, or in Italian they would say intercalare. Put simply, these are little words that you can use in a conversation which helps it go a bit more smoothly. Now, you can of course look up these words in a dictionary and you can see the direct translation. That does help. But in my opinion, this is not enough. I believe that there are certain words and sounds which you really have to hear them in context. You need a clear example and you need someone to explain exactly how to use them, because if you don't, then you might use them incorrectly. The bottom line is this. I chose these words because they were difficult for me in the beginning, and I really needed to live here in Italy. I needed to hear these words in context. And if you're not a native speaker of Italian, or if you're not advanced, then it's confusing. Most likely there's going to be some differences of opinions as to how we use these words, but this is just my interpretation. Andiamo. Okay, so let's start with the first one, and this is what I said in the intro, the use of yes and no, sì, no. You're probably asking yourself, why would somebody use yes and no back to back? Isn't that a bit incoherent? That's really a redundant question, because the most important thing that you have to remember is that when two Italians are talking to each other and they use sì, no, they understand it. It makes sense to them, and that's all we need to know. In essence, they use sì, no when the other person hasn't fully understood what you said and you need to explain it better. Let me give you an example. And yeah, my notes are down here. So suppose I'm talking to a friend and I say, sono andata dal dottore e mi ha consigliato delle vitamine. So my friend says, perché sei malato? Sì, no, in realtà mi servono per risolvere un piccolo problema. In all honesty, I really can't think of a direct translation for sì, no. But I think in an English-speaking situation, I would just respond, no, not really. So there is a no in there, but it would be followed by not really. This next one still trips me up to this day, and it's the word no. So I first encountered the use of no while working as an English teacher here in Italy, and at first I was really confused. In fact, I was even offended. On more than one occasion, I would be explaining something. Maybe it's a tough grammatical concept or just something that the students didn't understand. So when I finished explaining, maybe I didn't ask them, did you understand? I would just end my explanation and then the students would say, no. As you can imagine, my first reaction was, what do you mean no? However, in this situation, it's really important to look at the face of the student when they say no. It is a dry no, but if you look at their face, they're confused, and it's almost like they're saying, I have not understood what you're saying. Like, no, this is not clear to me. More often than not, they would say no, and they would just look up like this. No. I could be wrong, but I think another use of no would be in this situation. If I'm talking to somebody and I say, che cosa mi volevi dire? And then the other person would respond, no, niente, volevo dirti che... Something like that. Another use of no could be this. If I'm explaining something to you and the other person hasn't understood, they could simply say, no, aspetta. Again, it's important to remember that they're not saying no, as in you're wrong. It's just a way of expressing themselves. And quite simply in English, this would be like saying, hang on a sec, wait a minute. For the next one, I want to make a comparison. In Italian, they have si va bene e si va bene. They sound similar, but they're not. They're both positive. However, si va bene has a negative and a positive meaning, whereas si va bene is always positive. Let me give you an example. If I ask somebody if they want to do something or if they agree with me, then they would say, si va bene. The focus of this segment of the video is on si va bene. So let's focus on the positive meaning first. So imagine we're at the bar. I go there with a friend and he offers to pay for my coffee. So I would say, domani ti do I soldi per il caffè. My friend says, si va bene. As in, don't worry about it. I hope I said that right. The other use is a bit more, let's say it's skeptical. Suppose I'm waiting for a bus and I'm hopeful. So I tell my friend, vedrai che arriverà puntuale l'autobus. My friend says, si va bene. It's like saying, yeah, sure. Before we go any further, I just want to say that these words are very contextual, meaning that when you're in the correct situation in which they're used and you hear how they're used, then it's clear what the emotion is of the speaker. But the purpose of this video is to explain the exact words used in certain situations. So I hope I'm doing okay. The next one is very similar to the last one, but with a slight word change. Instead of saying si va bene, we say no va bene. For this one here, it's important to not directly translate it. In other words, don't think it means no, okay. In all honesty, and like I was saying before, it's not hard to understand why somebody's using this. You just have to listen to the way that they use it. But examples help, and let me give you one. So, you are the friend, and he tells you, I've just bought a new car. You would say, no, vabbè. Obviously, by the look of my face and the emotion, you can tell that this is something positive, even though you're using the word no. In my situation, this would be as if somebody had just told me, David, you've just won an all-expenses-paid vacation to Trentino, which is a region in northern Italy, and I was there about 2 years ago, and I absolutely loved it. So yeah, I would say, no, vabbè. I gotta confess though, no vabbè is not really an expression that I'm used to using very often, although I've heard it plenty of times, obviously. And if somebody really did tell me that I won a vacation to Trentino, I would just say, dai, veramente? Come on, really? The next one is probably one of the most common sounds in the Italian language, and this is eh. So the two uses that come to mind for this word are when you want to just confirm something that's obvious, and also it's a way to say, I told you so. Here's an example. Imagine you go outside. It starts raining and you get wet. You come back home and then somebody asks you, ti sei bagnato? And you say, eh. It's like saying, well, yeah. In the case of I told you so, it would go something like this. So imagine I go to the post office and there's just a ton of people there and I have to wait for, I don't know, 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever. I come back home and I tell my mother this and she says, ti avevo detto di non andarci a quell'ora. I told you not to go there at that hour. The next one is a real important one, and I guarantee you, if you've studied Italian, then this is probably one of the first words that you've learned. And this one is allora. Okay, so first the classic use. This is used whenever somebody's about to explain something. And in English, this would be our equivalency of saying, okay, so, well. Quite simply, you would use this word if somebody says something irrelevant. So suppose I'm talking to a friend and he says, I saw a big dog yesterday. E allora? In essence, this would be our equivalency of English for, yeah, and, or so what? I think, though, that with the word allora, the intonation is everything, because this helps you to understand if it's positive or negative. Other variations would be, cosa vuoi dire? Cosa c'entra? There is one which is very similar, and this would be, Mbeh. In all honesty, this is something that you would use only with people that you know. You would use this expression when you don't agree with somebody's logic. So, for example, if they say, Italians are late to work because they're used to hot weather. Mbeh? What are you talking about? So what? Sorry for the light change, but the sun's going down. The next one you would use when you simply don't have an answer to something. And that word is ma. The spelling of this word is M-A-H. And it's not to be confused with ma, which is the Italian word for but, which is spelled M-A. I don't know, suppose you hear about somebody who went to the casino and they dropped their whole paycheck on a poker game. You would say, ma. This leads into the next one, and this is something else that I didn't quite understand when I first heard it. I had an idea, but I was confused, and this is the word boh. Quite simply, this would be our version of, I don't know. This next one can be really confusing, and if you don't have somebody explain it to you, then you're probably not going to get it, unless you're super intelligent. And this is the word ni. And quite simply, it's a cross between no and si, yes and no. You would use this when the answer is neither yes nor no. So you would just say, ni. I've had quite a few Italians follow my videos, and so I just thought it's one for you. And I thought of it because I think the use is quite different between English and Italian. And this is the English word of oh. Quite simply, in English, we use this word when you are surprised. You would say, oh. Oh. So yeah, there's variations of it, but you know, we would still use it for when we're surprised. But you can also use it when you're disappointed, like, oh. And then we also have the classic, oh yeah? Which in Italian would be, ah sì. Yeah, I wanted to mention this last one because it is indeed quite different between English and Italian, as I said before. And I believe that in Italian, you would use it if you want to call somebody's attention. Sorry, but I really don't want to try and give an Italian example because I think I'd make a jerk of myself. Do you in fact use these filler words correctly? And also, I'd like to know if my video has helped you to use these words in a better way. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video because it does help out my channel. You'd be surprised. Also, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. I make videos about Italian culture, but I also make practical videos which help with living here, working here, and also vacationing. Actually, I am really looking forward to making those types of videos again as soon as this whole COVID situation dies down. If by any chance you would like to contribute something to help me make more of these videos possible in the future, or if you simply want to say, thank you, David, for making these videos, go to the description of this video and click on the Buy Me a Coffee link. Whatever you would like to give is greatly appreciated, so thank you. Grazie mille per l'attenzione, ci vediamo alla prossima. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.